Hi, I'm Wesley. I am the master debugger at WordPressDebugger.com. The last several days, I have developed a plugin based off of an existing plugin called Config Constants that can be found in the plugin repository by presscoders.com. I have taken this plugin and fully fleshed it out so that it now encompasses all constants that are available in the configuration file of your WordPress installation. This plugin allows you to edit your WordPress installation configuration file in real time in the admin console. Likewise, if you edit the WP config file in a text editor, it will be reflected in the console. It gives you complete control over everything that's in the configuration file, which also makes it a very powerful and some maybe even dangerous plugin if used improperly. So let's see this plugin in action. First, we must download the plugin. To download the plugin requires going to WordPressDebugger.com, as the plugin is not found in the WordPress repository. In order to do that, we go to the WordPressDebugger.com plugin homepage for this plugin. This is where the video should also be embedded on the website. In this page, we can see a couple of links. You can look at the code that I've developed on GitHub, or you can download the code as a .tar.gz file or a zip archive so that we can get ready to install the script. To install the script, we will take the files and either FTP them up to the staging server or to your WordPress site, or if you're on a local development, move the files into your plugin directory. Once you've done that, you will be able to see the plugin Falcraft Config Constants in your plugin directory. Simply click Activate, as you do with many plugins, and it will activate on your WordPress installation. Once the plugin is activated, you can either click on Settings below the plugin name, or you can go to your Settings tab and select Config Constants. I will select Config Constants here in my Settings menu to gain access to the admin options page I built for the plugin. Now we're at the admin options page for the Falcraft Config Constants plugin. This has various set of directions and instructions and warnings on it that I will reiterate here for using this plugin. For example, all security credentials are masked and they are not stored in the database. When you edit the WP config file at any time, make sure you have an initial backup. This plugin actually creates a backup on activation at the plugin directory wp-config.back-php. It does not remove this file on deactivation. It does remove it on uninstallation. This only edits the WP config file. It does not set the preferences in your database. So for example, if you set an alternate table prefix, it doesn't actually change the table prefix in your database, only in the config file. Please be aware that editing these constants and settings can really break your WordPress installation if you don't know exactly what you're doing. This plugin is meant for WordPress developers in non-production environments. It is not recommended for production environments. This usually means a local machine, not even a staging server. In order to use the plugin properly, it is important to have the correct format when entering in all of your values. They have to be entered in exactly as they'll appear in the configuration file. So you have to quote strings and you have to put PHP code without the tags, because those will be stripped off in sanitization. Before we run the plugin to test it, we don't necessarily want it overwriting our config file itself. As you can see, I have opened the code in my studio, and I will uncomment this line that puts the contents of the file into a file named test.php in my plugin directory. I will then comment the line that puts the contents of the form into the actual config file. This will be important because we will view the config file that's generated, but not necessarily overwriting our original for our testing purposes and display purposes. So let me save this. Alright, now to fully run the program and see the test results. Let's say we go in and we want to disable post revisions. So we'll go to posts. We'll go to WP post revisions, click on the disable checkbox, and then we will go to the administrator and click the Save Changes file or button. As you can see, I'm back in my studio now, and in the studio I am looking at the test.php file that was generated by the plugin. As you can see, post revisions right here have been disabled, just like we wanted. That's pretty much the gist of the plugin. If you do this like I have done, make sure that you change the settings in the plugin file so that when you run the plugin, it saves to the correct place. So we'll comment this line out that saves it in test, and we will comment or uncomment this line that saves it to the WP config file. Alright, that's it. Happy coding.